Okay, this is my recipe for chestnut, onion, and cornbread stuffing that we do every year. And this is the part where I saute all the vegetables, and I usually do this the day before so the flavors can blend. So what we got here is I got about a ½ pound of shallot. I got a cup of red onion that's been large diced. I got a cup of celery that's been diced. And since I'm making this so early in the season, I couldn't get chestnuts. So what I'm going to do is take, it calls for 3/4 of a pound, what I like to use, of chestnuts. But since I don't have those, I'm going to substitute pine nuts, and I'm going to actually put those in the pan and toast them a little bit. And then we got a tablespoon of fresh sage and a tablespoon of fresh thyme. And then we're also going to add some poultry seasoning and some salt and some pepper. And also we have some leeks. Now I'll talk about that in a minute. This also calls for a cup of parsley. Now it says flat leaf parsley. This is regular parsley. You don't want that. You want the Italian parsley, which is a flat leaf. So we need a cup of this. So we'll just chiffonade this a little bit. Get a cup. And then, now on the leeks, what I do is cut this part off, right? Because you really want to use only the part that's light, up to light green. So we'll get rid of this. And then what I do is split it down the middle. Fold the halves down, and then just cut it 1/4 inch sections. Then I take this and put it in some water, because the easiest way to get the dirt out of them is to put them in a bowl, in a pot of water like this, and they'll float to the top. Then I'll just pick them out. And you need about 6 leeks for this, good sized leeks. Now you may think that there's a lot of onion in this recipe, but it all sweats down, and I'm going to make the cornbread that goes with this. I make my own, so it really is not overpowering onion-wise. And if you take the time to make this, it will be the best you'll ever taste, because my family swears by it. We've been making this for years. Okay, so here's all the leeks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset to the stove, and I'll show you how I cook this stuff down. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pine nuts, and I'm going to toast them a little bit. Anytime you toast nuts, you just want them to go until you start to smell them a little. Okay, they're starting to sizzle a little bit. You want to be careful too, because this pine nuts, it's about a pound, and it costs about $14 a pound, so you want to be careful with this. And you don't want to do pine nuts, you can do walnuts. I like putting nuts in the stuffing because it gives it a little bit of a crunchiness against the, everything else. Because when I make my own cornbread, the texture is a lot different. It's instead of being mushy, it's kind of a little bit grainy, but it's interesting because everything doesn't taste like mush. And then the graininess of the cornbread against the chewiness of the nuts and the crunchiness, it's kind of nice. It's more than just a soggy mess when you're chewing it. Okay, these are starting to smell now. I want to go a little longer. I think I want to go longer and get some color on them. Okay, I don't want to go longer than that, that's sure. So here we go with the wet ingredients for the stuffing. Start out with a stick of butter. And to that I'm going to add the onions, celery, shallots, the idea is you want to cook all this, you want to soften it up a little bit. And then I'm going to add all of these leeks. So what I'm going to do now, a little salt, pepper. So I'm going to let this cook down for about 15 minutes and I'll be back. This has been cooking for about 5 minutes now. And I'm going to add about a half a cup of chicken stock just to help create some steam to help it to come down a little bit. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, and now it's starting to wilt down. So I'm going to go ahead and add the parsley, the sage, and the thyme. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of poultry seasoning. That is the best stuff. Okay, we'll mix this in. Two tablespoons of poultry seasoning. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to take it off the heat and I'm going to let it cool. And then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. And I'm not going to mix the nuts with it or anything because the nuts will get soft. So this is done. Put it in the fridge, and then tomorrow when I make up the stuffing, I'll add this to the cornbread. So now I'm going to reset and show you how I make the cornbread. Okay, I made the cornbread. And what I do, believe it or not, I've tried making it from scratch, but this Jiffy corn muffin mix, if you want to make it this way, get 6 of these, and then you'll need 2 cups of milk and 6 eggs. And then I put a little butter spray in here, baked it in an 11 by 17 Pyrex. It says 400 degrees, but when you bake with glass, with Pyrex, you have to reduce the temperature by 25 degrees because of the conductivity, or how it works. It cooks the food hotter. So if you're going to bake it in Pyrex, 375. If you're going to bake it in a metal dish, then go to 400. And it took about 35 minutes. So now I'm going to let this cool, and then I'm going to cube it up and I'm going to dry it in the oven, and I'll show you how that's done after this cools. I'll be back. Okay, so I have been drying these out in the oven, and this just came out. I'm cubing it, and then I'm putting it in the oven, 300 degrees. 300 degrees for 30 minutes. So now I'm going to make another batch. This is all I'm doing. I'm just cutting it up like this. That's it. Setting it on the cookie sheet, or the pie sheet. Takes a while because I got to do this in four batches. So, and then after, just transfer it to a bag, and it's ready to go for when we have to add the other ingredients that we made earlier. That's it. Okay, it's about an hour before I'm going to put the bird in the oven, so I took the stuffing out of the refrigerator and I'm going to warm it up in the pan. This is a large bird, 23 pounds, so there's a few things that I got to do different. I'm going to warm this up because this way it'll give the stuffing a head start, otherwise it's never going to get cooked all the way through. So I'm going to put this on the stove and warm it up, and I'll be back. I warmed it up on the stove, and now this is the bread we made yesterday, and you can see it's really by drying it out rather than using stale bread, there is a big difference. So dry the bread out in the oven. I'm going to throw all this in here. Now this may look like a lot of stuffing, but we got, every time I talk to my wife, there's more people coming. There's probably 18 people coming now. So, to that we're going to add, and you can see how it shrunk down from when we first started cooking it. And by this sitting in the oven overnight, or this sitting in the refrigerator overnight, the flavors have really developed in this. Okay, so to this, we're going to add our pine nuts. And we're going to add some chicken stock. Also, I put some chicken stock in the stuffing. Even though it had some juices, I put some in there before I heated it up in the pan. So let's start to mix this up now. I like my stuffing to be a little dry going into the bird. So that way it's not soggy. I don't want to mix this too much because I'll break up all those cubes. I'm just going to mix it enough. Okay. Now you can see, once you put all that onion in there, it really disperses and it doesn't really look like all that much when you put it all together. So now we're going to stuff the bird. And so this has been sitting. I know some people are going to go, oh, that's too much, but it's been sitting out for like 2 hours and it's still cold to the touch. So the best way to do this is with your hands. And what I'll do is, I'll just loosely pack it in there. Try not to make a funny face when I'm doing this. Now you're gonna look at my face the whole time. It's hard to do stuff when I'm sitting down like this, but I want to get the bird in the middle of the frame on the camera, so I try to crouch down so you can see everything. So I'm going to finish stuffing this part, and then I'm going to truss this side, and then I'm going to go to the back and put some more in the neck area. What's up, Max?
What's up?
My son just woke up. Max, we got about 18 people coming.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And Jaden's coming?
Is he? Okay. 19. I thought we were going to have leftovers, but it looks like we're not. But that's okay. Okay, so nice thing about a butterfly turkey is they give you a nice flap here, but I'm going to go ahead and truss this closed because we're actually going to roast this turkey upside down to start. So let me clean off a little bit, wash my hands, and then I'll truss that side of the turkey. Okay, and then we can cut off this excess. And then we can close this, put this in here like this. Okay. Now that'll keep the stuffing in when it's upside down. So now I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to do the back. Now, whatever stuffing you don't use, what I do is, when the turkey comes out, you're going to have about a half hour or so of oven time. So I try to prepare all my other dishes so that they just need to be reheated within that half hour so that everything comes out nice and hot. And in addition to my squash or whatever I'm cooking, I'm going to put all this extra stuffing in another dish and brown it off in the oven, and then I'll add it to the stuffing that comes out of the bird. Especially with all these people, you can never have enough stuffing, and I tend to cook a lot anyway. If I'm going to do this, I might as well make a large amount. So I'm going to finish this back here right now. I'm going to make this really big. It's going to look like a football back here. But you'll find that this is the best stuffing in the back, and people fight over this flap of skin. Just push it all down in there. This is going to cook. I could pack this because this is going to cook a lot because it's right near the edge of the skin. So I can go ahead and pack this, like I said already. Okay, it's starting to get there. And again, I went light on the salt in the stuffing too because the turkey will be too salty with the brine. Keep adding salt to everything, it's going to be overpowering. Okay, I got the leftover stuffing, and what I do is got some butter flavored spray. I'm going to line this with the spray, and then put the rest of the stuffing in here. Now I got to keep in mind that I only got 30 minutes to cook this after the turkey comes out, so that's why I got 11 by 17, so I can spread it out thin so the heat will penetrate it. I'll just set this in here loosely like this. And this will get covered with foil, and this will go in when the turkey comes out. So that's the stuffing out. See, this is the part everybody fights over. Now, like I said earlier, this is going to be mixed with the stuffing that's already in the oven. Okay, so that's the back. Let me do the front. Nice thing about not using any trusses is you don't have any metal in here, you just pull the string out. This microphone is very sensitive, it hears everything. Got a bunch of people in the background because they're all waiting, they're all salivating over this. Okay, so now, that's good enough.